welcome to Mass Reflect, a podcast about video games and their intersection with politics, and particularly, in this series, the video game Mass Effect. I'm your co-host, Beatrice, and with me as always is my co-host,
Rob.
And this is exciting. It is our final main quest episode for Mass Effect 1.
I'm so excited to be done with Mass Effect 1.
I am too, although here's the weird thing, I'm still going to replay it.
I was going to, but then I got all the achievements, so I think I'm good. I think I have 100% in Mass Effect.
See, I did too, but I didn't have all of them. I didn't have all of the stuff for my main quest done, for my side quests done, in my first save. I didn't have all of the side quests done in my first playthrough, so I think I want to, remedy that for the, final playthrough. Also, this way I can fully up my level.
Oh, that's fair. That is fair. I mean, we're going to have a couple weeks until we truly start Mass Effect 2, so I guess it is appropriate that you could literally play through it again if you wanted to have the perfect save to bring in.
I also have decided to play it on casual, which has really increased the velocity of my playthrough.
So I had to restart to get through to wrap up some of the achievements, and let me tell you, if you're not really taking the time to read through the dialogue and are just skipping through it as much as possible, it's a short game. Goes by very quickly. You get through Eden Prime very quickly.
See, I always remembered getting through Eden Prime, and I was like, I think at a certain point I just started skipping the dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Which makes sense.
So, boy,
yeah.
Where does the ending of this game start?
Well, it starts with the council, bringing in Shepard. They call him a loose cannon. They're off the case.
I mean, when we last left the main quest, I did just nuke a planet, so they might be right.
Yeah, I mean, no, totally, they're definitely right. Udina backs them, and they're doing some sort of military build-up against the Terminus systems.
Right, because that's what they've just taken this as. There is no Reaper threat, but the Terminus systems are going to invade. They won't let us go in to go to Ilos to stop the threat that they are ostensibly afraid of.
Yeah. Anyways, you go back to the Normandy, and you have this weird interaction with the character that you romance.
Yeah.
That's just kind of awkward. Joker's implied to be eavesdropping, basically.
I don't like the romance.
That's at least
the romance subplots in this game at all.
No, they're very bad.
They're very bad. We'll get into it when we get to the real scene. Which we have. I have broken down notes about it.
Okay. I didn't really want to talk about it.
No, I didn't want to either, but I thought maybe we should. It's so bad. Alright, let's just talk about it now. There's a terrible sex scene in this game.
There's a really bad sex scene. It's so cringy.
You know what's amazing to me about it? It's very cringy. It's very awkward.
What's amazing me about it is that Persona 4 has better implied, sexy
romances.
Times.
Yes. And
yeah.
You know the thing is, this caused such a stir back in the day. And it is so terrible, just terrible. Literally, it looks like it'd be in a PG movie, and it just has all of the hallmarks. It's very shaky cam for some reason.
Yeah, it's a very weird scene.
It shows everything off center, but it doesn't show you anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. No, it's.
It at best it gets an ass shot on a couple of the characters, again, doesn't actually show you anything, and then when it cuts when it's done with it and cuts to Shepard is back fully clothed, leaning against their desk, while your partner is just fully naked.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Why wouldn't that be the case?
It's just it is literally. I mean, I guess that's the thing, right? Like this is the like literally this is slightly more sexy than a Star Trek episode is what we're at.
Yeah, it is Star Trek level of like kind of not cringy bad romance things.
Yes, but I also feel like at least the Star Trek characters are attractive. Do you know what I mean? Like even if
Yeah.
those scenes are awkward and weird, like the characters themselves usually end up being like a little more like sexy because they are actual humans and not weird character models.
Yeah, and because they're like characters that you can interact with and have like conversations and not just uh, whatever Liara is in this game.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I yeah, that was
By which I mean she is a weirdly flat companion.
yes, exactly. And I just feel like I also romanced Liara because you have two options for the romance, and I wanted to see the romance subplot for the sake of this game. Honestly, if I was just replaying for my own edification, I probably would have skipped them based on my memory of it. Like I just don't think it is like for as much as that's what this series becomes and what BioWare games have become. It is a really poor start to a legacy that kind of grew out of this.
I mean, this isn't the start of that. That started back in Baldur's Gate. They had romances and stuff.
In Baldur's Gate 2, I believe they did. Did they have in 1?
Yeah. I don't think they had them in 1, but in 2,
But you definitely didn't see anything in Baldur's Gate 2,
well, no,
right?
of course you didn't see anything.
Yeah. Like, the sex scenes in these games have become, like, something... I don't want to say, like, a meme, or, like, because... In a lot of cases,
they are a signature of BioWare game development. I wouldn't even say sex scenes so much, but romance subplots are a huge signature, and inclusive ones.
I feel like especially around like Dragon Age, but like Mass Effect 2 and Dragon Age Inquisition, they were a big deal. Do you know what I mean? Like people wrote entire Kotaku articles about them. And to be fair, like Dragon Age Inquisition won awards for the romance subplots in it, So, like...
Yeah.
It
is an ignominious start to a now, I guess, proud tradition. But,
I guess.
That's
I think it's a bad tradition, frankly, but there you are.
Look.
I've turned on it, though, because when this game came out, I was like, dude, whoa.
Yeah.
Half-naked
I like
ass.
romance subplots, but I've never been too fond of BioWare ones, usually because there's just never a character that I'm like, I like this person.
I don't mind them, but yes, as I've gotten older, like, at this time I would have said, well, I romanced someone because I wanted to see the scene, because I was 15 when this game came out, so, piece of shit back then, like all 15-year-old boys. But, like, I definitely only like I can't say now that like I feel any strong connection to these characters. And like when I by the time I got around to playing Inquisition, I was just like, yeah, none of these characters really, I don't know.
Yeah, none of Yeah, the romance stuff is not great. And it's very kind of odd that you basically are like the last thing you do before going on a suicide-ish mission is having sex with your coworker. It's very good.
Subordinate. Yeah.
Yes, right, a subordinate.
Yeah. Romance.
Yes, romance. That's how it's presented. Join the alliance, kids.
So yeah. We arrive so.
Oh, sorry. There is other stuff though.
There's other things happen in this ending.
Joker interrupts to tell you that like Anderson is in flux, and you can go meet him. And Anderson basically tells you to break the Normandy out of like lockdown.
Yes, you're going fully rogue.
Yep. Anderson knocks out Udina.
Which, again, to be fair, is going rogue, but we are Spectres, so...
So what is going rogue?
Yes. What authority does the council lock us down on? Is what I still don't understand.
Well, they technically do have authority over us. It's just like, as we've established, that's kind of nominal and maybe non-existent.
So we break the Normandy out. We go to Ilos, which is where right before is when we have the weird sex scene.
Yes.
And then, yeah, basically you arrive on Ilos. You go through some Protheon ruins, which maybe I've just been playing too many Metroid games recently. But, like, in replaying the section the other night to refresh myself, this just felt like, this is like, oh wow, the design of this is just Metroid.
I just found this a real slog, to be honest with you.
This section of the game is such a slog.
Yeah, because
but great for replaying if you're trying to get the achievements where you use the powers, because I got pretty much all of them on this planet.
Oh hell yeah!
It is so easy because there are so many enemies to fight.
Yeah, I was able to get one or two of them in my rundown. I think I got my last ones on my New Game Plus, because I needed, like, the one for Caden after he died.
Right.
After I killed him. Let's be real. I killed him. With my decision.
I did mine on a new character, just because I also needed to make a new character to get all of the codex entries, because there was one I was missing that you can only get at the very beginning.
Okay.
And then I made my character an engineer, so I had that same power. So then between Caden and I was able to then just use that power a bunch to get it.
Ah, perfect. Neural shock.
Yep, neural shock.
Ah, nice. I also needed to use Caden for that. Those were the two.
So yeah. Yeah, it's a boring part of this game, and like there's some lore dumps at the end.
Well, yeah, I kind of split this up into two parts, because there's the first part where you're on foot, and then once the gate is opened, you're given this like Mako driving mission where you go through these Protheon cryopod towers.
Yeah, that's true. I think it is worth noting. I would have thought this section was more involved as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I think if you had asked me to describe what I thought the gameplay of it was, I thought it was you driving around, having to get out, but like rather than, like you would if you were exploring a planet, but in a more concentrated area. But instead, no, it is you going through this weirdly maze-like, again, very Metroid-feeling environment, both in the level design and the art design. And then, like, yeah, you hop into the Mako and basically run down hallways for the next 20 minutes.
Yes. Well, you get to meet an AI briefly, a Prothean AI called VI, called Vigil.
If they were an AI, they'd be evil.
You're right.
And
this
is one of the good ones, so they're a VI.
That is a huge difference. That is definitely not just a distinction that we're making between two things that could basically be the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah. And this gives you the lore dumps about the Protheans and like their investigation into the Reapers and the Citadel, and tells you what the Conduit is, which is this MacGuffin that we haven't really talked about because honestly it's kind of vague.
Yes, but it turns out what the Conduit is, because you don't actually know what it is.
It's kind of rad, actually.
It is one of the things I remembered most about this game, actually, which is that there is, if you've walked around the Presidium, you would have seen that there is a statue of a Mass Effect relay. I almost said a Mass Reflect relay, which is a relay, which I guess is your phone, because that's how you listen to Mass Reflect. But there's a Mass Effect statue. There's a statue of Mass Effect relay, which everyone thinks is just a statue. Turns out it's not. It's a mini Mass Effect relay. Because I guess they can be any size. That didn't really make sense, but whatever. We'll go with it. And yeah, there's a normal size Mass Effect relay on this planet that you then go to. It's not explained why you can't see it from space or just access it from space. You have to be on the ground to use it. Saren
Well,
uses...
it's so you can. It's so you can do an incredibly stupid thing.
Yes. You then realize that Saren is here because he's basically going to warp in and then put down the defenses so that his fleet can come in and destroy the Citadel. You do a weird race. You do a weird race down some hallways that is very long.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's more talking that Vigil does. Like,
yes, Vigil. Yes, we should probably talk.
yeah, I would.
About this.
I feel like we should get to that before moving on, just because I have some quotes again, and yeah, there's a lot of information here. So basically, it seems like the Reapers use like the mass relays and the Citadel as like a lore, basically.
Yes, they created all
directing...
that stuff. The Protheans did not.
Yeah, but it's to direct the development of organic species, it seems, along certain technological lines, which will lead them to be vulnerable to the Reapers.
Right. Reliance on Mass Effect technology
Yes.
means that the Reapers who invented it know how to cripple their technology so that
Yes.
they can easily take them. Which is actually, yeah, pretty smart. Also an interesting comment on colonialism, but I don't think Mass Effect was going for that.
No. It's probably not what it was going for. But who knows? Maybe.
We, what happens? Oh yeah, so we learned that, like, basically they've been creating this stuff and they funnel everyone into it. And then usually this is some sort of cycle. However, some Protheans who survived the last cycle have broken the cycle because they have left behind a backdoor that by which Sovereign and Reapers can be stopped in their initial vanguard.
Well, yeah, I mean, it actually seems like they technically stymied Sovereign in his initial attempts to bring the Reapers in.
Yes, because the Reapers can normally just warp right in and start the process and start the reaping. But they went on. This is actually, I love this. Yes. Like, this feels like a great science fiction sort of story to me. Like the Protheans returned to the Citadel using the conduit, and like without the Reapers knowing. This is long after the Reapers had finished, and reprogrammed it so that the Reapers couldn't warp in.
Sovereign's defeat or stymieing by these Prothean scientists is why Saren is actually being used by Sovereign. Basically, this is a backdoor because the beacons that, like, Shepard and Saren have interacted with this game were designed to only interface with organics. And, like, Sovereign is now behind time as, like, the Reaper's sleeper agent for re-entry, and this is the last-ditch effort. And I do just have some fun quotes. Sorry for always having these. But the genocide of an entire species is a long, slow process. Years
Not how
pass.
we normally do it.
Yeah.
Man, we're better than the Reapers. Yeah.
I'm shocked no one said this. What are you talking about?
I just genocided 3.
You guys didn't genocide good.
Yeah, not very good, Reapers, huh?
Years passed, decades, centuries. The Reapers persistent, and my energy reserves were dwindling. And this is like them justifying shutting down the pods of the last Protheans, wiping out the civilization. It's very funny. In a terrible, terrible way.
I agree that the genocide of a galactic scale species would take a long time. Is centuries likely?
Centuries seems unlikely to me.
It just seems like in that amount of time, even like if the Reapers are supposed to win because of their technological advancement, right, and the fact that they're so powerful from technology, like, wouldn't that be enough time to formulate a realistic defense?
Possibly. I can see it taking centuries, but it feels like it would take centuries because you would just be going around wiping out the last pockets of these species.
Right. It feels like it would be centuries if you were like doing it in like where you weren't just wiping them out through orbital bombardments, which is how I would imagine it happens. You know. But I don't know.
I don't know. With the Reapers, it feels like it's a mix. It feels very personal.
That's true. We do see their genocide, and it is a mix. It's not just orbital bombardments. Like
it is weird their personal animosity towards all organics, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I imagine this is something that has been explained that I've never seen explained because it's in the DLC. I feel like never having played the Leviathan DLC of Mass Effect 3, that apparently answers a lot of questions.
All right, I feel like I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I'm very excited about Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
I hope. That's what I've heard, but I don't know, you know?
Absolutely. Well, look, we'll be the judge of that, for ourselves at least.
So the thing is, here's what I wonder. So, Sovereign is like a stay-behind agent, but this is Sovereign's like last... Like, getting Saren to help Sovereign is Sovereign's last-ditch effort, right? Which implies that if we win this, like, the Reapers can never return.
Yeah.
So this feels like a setup in case this needs to be just one game and this never gets a Mass Effect 2. You know what I mean?
It really does.
But also, how long do you think Sovereign was delayed?
That's a great question, right?
It's not... I don't think it's stated, but it was like the first thing that occurred to me. I was like, well, was humanity supposed to be here, right? Is humanity's presence another, the wrinkle that created by the Protheans? Because otherwise, what does the Protheans doing this actually matter if the humans aren't here, right?
It feels like that's the implication, but it's just very...
They don't say it one way or the other, right?
It's very vague, and I don't really love the implications of that, if that is what they are actually trying to say.
No, I don't love it either. The thing is, I guess on maybe it didn't have to be humanity, but just delay them enough so that, what is the plan, right? Was it to limit that the Reapers could ever return, in which case they failed? But, that doesn't seem like that was the intention. The intentionality was to give the next cycle a fighting chance. So what was that fighting chance? The fact that there isn't just the kill shot on the Citadel is important. But, again, none of the other races seem all that perturbed about the Reapers. Or willing to do anything.
Yeah, it's a very... It does feel like they left this vague because they weren't sure if they would get a sequel, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I can't really judge you for that.
No. Or maybe, totally. This is an ambitious project for the time, you know?
This is an ambitious project for now, to be honest with you.
If
someone announced this series, I would be like, what are you talking about? You're not going to do that. Make one game and then just release a bunch of DLC story contents. Or expansions, or whatever. Oh god, that would be the way to do a space game, huh? Create all the infrastructure and then make bespoke story content that people have to buy.
Yeah.
Cut that out of the episode. We're gonna... That's the game plan.
I've always wondered why people haven't done that, but whatever.
Yeah.
I like this one quote, this one interaction you have, which is Liara. I also had Liara tally up this section. Liara says, all their culture, their advanced technology, still they were taken in by the Reapers, just as we were. And then Tali says, just like
my people. It's so terrible. Comparing the Geth to the Reapers is genuinely like comparing Palestinians to Nazis. No, it's fucking insane.
It is. And just more and more, to be honest, I feel like, despite again, Romani being the comparison here, it feels more and more like Israel and Palestine.
It does.
But where no, is the Israelis are like very much
Well,
the victims here. Is like the reading on it. Do you know what I mean?
well, wait. Let me look something up.
Because there is like an element to this. While you look that up, like there is an element of this that feels like somebody being like, "No, you don't get it." Like any chance Tali has to introduce like the idea that like there are people to rewrite the story to make her people the ones who are victimized. She can't help but take it. It's crazy.
What I was looking up was how many clans there are. Because from another point of view, there is like a 12 tribes of Israel field.
Oh, jeez, you're right.
Which is implied also by like the migratory fleet. It ties into Battlestar Galactica too. Yeah, there's a lot.
I always knew the Battlestar Galactica thing. I did, the 12 clans thing makes sense for the Battlestar Galactica thing. I've never made that connection before.
Yeah, I don't know how many clans there actually are, but this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that you can make a very real Israel-Palestine connection. Oh, jeez.
No, yeah, God.
Let's just hope that this game treats it better than
that makes me really upset about how the Geth and the Quarian storyline ends. Actually,
yeah, no, I'm now not sure that I'm gonna like anything.
I might hate all of this.
Yeah, the good ending where
where we just say, what if you all shared the planet? I don't know.
Well, that isn't the terrible ending. I don't hate that.
No, I hate
conceptually.
By itself, I like it. The problem is in our real world history, that gets used as an argument that favors those still in power. Do you know what I mean? Like when you say like,
yes,
oh well, you shouldn't fight each other. That you should just you live here and you live there. Ignores like the real politics of what is happening to the Palestinians, which is that they are undergoing an ethnic cleansing.
I don't know if this was entirely intentional. Is the only reason why I'm not gonna like.
No, I also think it is again like we're seeing two different like by the time you get to Mass Effect 3, you have a different lead writer.
Yes.
And, like, I don't think that this is happening on the level of Casey Hudson, Like,
no,
I think that this is happening in the War Bible where it's being written. And so by the time you have a different writer, like, it is a different implication. Do you know what I mean?
I also think a lot of this... I really think a lot of these things are because they wanted to include various elements that, when combined, kind of...
Yes. This feels unintentional to me.
Yes, that's I guess what I'm saying. Like, everything about this that is political weirdly feels unintentional. Not because it's, like, haphazard or, like,
although at points it is very haphazard, yeah.
Well, look, yes, but,
But, like, no, there's never, like, the thing is it doesn't line up cleanly enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, for it to be an analogy... It would have to be a situation where the Quarians had come back to their planet and were trying to share it with the Geth. Do you know what I mean? But we're also like putting the Geth in ghettos and denying them access to utilities like the internet.
Yeah, I just can't wait till Mass Effect 4 when that is what is going to be happening.
Right, like that's ultimately what happens as an effect of your decision in Mass Effect 3, right? Like one side inevitably, boy.
One side returns, and I don't know how much I trust the Quarians now.
I mean, based on their history, you shouldn't trust the Quarians.
You shouldn't trust based off their history and the outlook of this game series. You shouldn't trust them.
And the Quarian who is put in this as their symbol, as the person who toes the party line, even if Tali's viewpoint changes, she obviously is informed by their overall viewpoint.
Yeah, she also I don't remember her viewpoint shifting that dramatically.
No, I don't think it shifts at all. I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on this one.
Yeah, it might though. I'm not entirely sure. Again, I don't remember this game in its entirety, which is interesting.
So we take the conduit back to the Citadel.
Yeah, and then we get a cutscene of Sovereign launching his assault on the Citadel.
Yeah, some good Star Wars-y type stuff, I guess.
Yeah, Star Wars-y Babylon 5. I mean, I don't know. This felt a little more like Dominion Wars or Babylon 5 to me than Star Wars.
I think Star Wars for me because of the production of it. Do you know what I mean? Like the amount of ships you can have, the big Citadel, stuff like that.
Yeah, but I guess the thing to me is that just always seemed like the cool thing about Mass Effect that it figured out, which is like, oh, we can have aliens and ships and stuff because it's a computer game.
Because it is all
in a
CG.
scale that is in a scale that is bigger than you could in like a film, in some ways.
Yeah. So you drive the Mako up the conduit.
You drive it up the conduit. Oh,
why the Mako wasn't obliterated and you killed? Like, how can you transport that through space? It bothered me. Especially the second time.
Yeah. I was actually... There's more to the cutscene, because, like, almost immediately the assault on the Citadel is like, it's a lost cause. The Destiny Ascension, which is, like, the Council's flagship, is instantly, like, evacuating the Council.
It doesn't make any sense, because the whole point is that the fleet is there to protect it, right? Like,
yes.
Shepard wanted us to take the fleet in to Ilos. But they're like, no, we're keeping the fleet here because we expect an attack. And yet when the attack comes, there is nothing, they're completely outmatched. And it's not clear why, because while Sovereign is a far more advanced ship, Sovereign doesn't join the fray. Sovereign speeds past the defenses just to get into the Citadel before it closes.
And, like, Sovereign does do a lot of damage in that time, but it does seem like you could totally have just attacked the Geth. I don't know why the Geth are so powerful, either. Especially given information we'll learn about this group in Mass Effect 2. It is just kind of a baffling thing. This power imbalance. Yeah, but... You land on the Citadel in the Mako and, like, get out, and still alive somehow.
Then you take an elevator up to Citadel Tower, but that gets stopped because, so then you shoot your way out, and then you have to fight your way up on the surface of Citadel Tower.
Yes. You fight in some trenches. You're doing some World War I style combat of restoring turrets and destroying enemy turrets and launching tactical nuclear weapons and chemical attacks. You don't do those two things.
You don't do
but
those. That would be cool if you did, but you don't.
I kind of did because I use like chemical stuff on my grenades.
At this point, I have like whatever the green damage thing is. I use all the time, which might be radioactive, might be poison, not particularly clear.
No, I'm gonna say that I'm basically using the space equivalent of mustard gas on these guys.
Yes, on robots, which is crazy.
On robots.
Here we are.
Hey, don't worry about it.
So yeah, you fight through the surface. There's not a lot to discuss here. It's just kind of more of the same shooting.
Yeah, it's more run and gun stuff, really. A lot of this game. It does have a lot of running and gunning, actually.
Very corridor shooty, more so than I would have assumed.
Yeah.
You reach the you continue on. Sovereign arrives and lands on the Citadel. You make it to Citadel Tower, and have your final confrontation with Saren.
Yes. What did you think of this confrontation?
Well, basically we learned that Saren is fully indoctrinated now and has is more machine than man now, a la Darth Vader. But I appealed to what was left of his, I want to say humanity, but there probably should be a better word for that, because he's a Turian, and so he shoots himself rather than I guess face reality. I think if I remember correctly, if you don't have full charm or threat, you have to fight him as a Turian one last time, but I did not, so there you are. Was there anything that stood out to you in this? I didn't really, to me this kind of just felt like the sort of like ending, you know.
I also didn't fight him. I believe if you do, it's like this kind of also a sloggy fight where he's like on a platform again.
Yeah,
if I'm
it's the same
correctly.
fight, but like harder than last time, which wasn't hard, but it was. Yeah, I remember it being not particularly good.
Yeah, and
But yeah, I talked him into killing himself.
And yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this that I think challenges that that view of the Reapers that we're presented with as like the only view of the Reapers that one can have.
Right.
So there's just a lot in it that implies that there can be like some sort of accommodation with the Reapers. Like Saren mentions that the Reapers need men and women of value, people like us. Sovereign recognizes your value, Shepard.
The thing is,
impressed it.
Maybe I'm buying too much into the council party line, but I just believe that was it. Like how it sold, why it was because it needed Saren to go where it could not. That's how it's been selling itself to Saren, and Saren believes that, but it's not actually true.
I wanted to highlight this stuff because I wanted to put a pin in these things, especially these quotes, because they become interesting in a later game.
Fair.
With one of the endings. I also found it interesting that, like, this is basically what the Alliance and other militaries do to their species.
Right. Empower individuals who are useful in order to have a vision of equality, you know?
Well, there's actually an interesting like argument that I don't think Mass Effect is trying to make, but it's kind of implying with this, which is like, if the Mass Effect relays and other stuff are Reaper tech that like guide the development of species, maybe like the thought processes of species are in some ways influenced by this technology that they use. By which I mean like the conclusions that the organic species sort of shepherded to uplift in some ways by the Reapers all kind of make, it seems, the same assumptions about like genocide and AIs versus organics and like the necessity to have people be upgraded with like these enhancements. It's interesting to me.
Yeah.
It enforces an outlook, it seems, as well as just a tech. Or at least implies that. And, I also just bullied him into committing suicide.
Yep.
Or talked him into committing suicide, I guess. I love that those are the two options. You can talk him into committing suicide, bully him into committing suicide, or just shoot him.
Yeah, pretty much. After that, you turn off Sovereign's ability to control it. You then get to make your second to last moral choice of the game.
Yes.
Where you choose either to risk humanity's forces to save the council who are aboard the Ascension, or tell your forces to stay safe, so that which would put the this is how they present it in this real convoluted way. You get the choice whether you want to have the council be killed or not in the battle.
Yes.
In a way that would leave you blameless from a legal perspective. So which did you choose?
I let him die. I said humanity needs their firepower to hold back, to let the destined ascension be destroyed by Sovereign's forces, and I won't lie to you. I don't regret anything. This allows me to prop up a whole new council.
One who more accepting of humans than this one has been. You know what I mean?
Oh, I was actually going to say one more accepting of a Spectre agenda.
Oh yeah, fair enough. You're going full deep state.
Yeah, no, I'm. Look, this is a deep state operative, Commander Shepard.
Fair enough. My character is still believes in everything, still believes
Yeah.
in the goodness of this world. So he saved the council.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, that's what I used to always pick. It felt interesting doing it this time with a Paragon character.
Yeah, you also have a. That's the thing, is like in all other respects, you're still a Paragon Shepherd. It's not like this
Yes.
one choice changes that. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
After you make that choice, Shepard looks down at Saren's body and tells his two companions to go make sure he's dead.
It is a very, very unsettling moment in this game.
Yeah.
Which had never struck me as unsettling before, but like it's
No.
I mean, it's just to set it up so that you have the second fight.
The second boss fight. What did you think of the second boss fight?
The second boss fight was where Saren's body like got turned all red and was turned into like a Geth spider, basically, but
Yeah.
it was actually Sovereign.
Wait, yours was red?
Yeah,
Did you
like
use...
orange red.
Maybe I'm misremembering it. Did you use... Out of curiosity, did you use, like, your threatening choices to get him to kill himself?
No,
Or did you use Paragon choice?
I
Okay,
used
maybe
my
I'm just
Paragon
misremembering.
choices.
Maybe I'm misremembering it then, because I would have sworn he was, like, bluish, and I was like, I wonder if that changes depending on which choices you use. But maybe I'm just
I
misremembering.
thought he turned reddish when Sovereign assumed direct control, which he actually says this time.
Right.
As a fun nod to the
to Mass
Reapers.
Effect 2, yeah.
Not yeah. I don't.
Harbinger.
That's not from the first game, right? That was an addition.
No, I think that must have been in there, and then maybe the second game is referencing that. But I feel like
Maybe,
that's where it
okay.
became a meme, you know.
I guess I just never remembered it. and
I never
that
remembered
fight.
it, but I remember it from Mass Effect 2 because it's said all the time.
Yeah, it is said too much in Mass Effect 2. That I'm not looking forward to in Mass Effect 2. I always didn't like that.
Yeah. So Sovereign assumes direct control.
Yeah, this fight is also just kind of a slog because there are endless waves of enemies and Saren's health goes down very slowly in Nightmare.
It is
Or
such
Insanity.
a boring episode. It's such a boring boss fight. I mean, it's not even like. Are there a lot of boss fights in this game? Not really. There's the Thorian, and then there's Matriarch Benezia. And none of them are great, so I guess I can't be two shots. But man, this one is. I never remember it being good, frankly. In fact, like
No.
it's funny to me how many people criticize Mass Effect 2's terrible boss fight at the end, and it's like, do you guys not remember like every other boss fight in this series?
No, they're all bad. For the
I'm
most
hoping
part.
there's some good ones in 2, at least during it, so that like that's maybe why people were so let down by it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I just remember honestly the boss fights never being as fun. I don't like boss fights in RPGs usually. They're never as good as they could be.
Yeah.
Unless of course the RPG is Dark Souls. In which case,
Well,
yeah, give me more boss fights.
That was a comparison I was going to make, is like a really good action RPG can have very good boss fights because often it requires you to use the information you have gathered.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I never finished Final Fantasy IV because the boss fight of that is just brutal. And, you know, at some point I got tired of trying, right? Like...
Yeah. I definitely, when I was a kid, gave up on Final Fantasy X at Sin because
I've never beat Sin. Still haven't.
Oh.
I've played through 2 Sin about 3 times in my life and have never finished that game.
Ooh. It does get weird, but I don't know how much you need to finish it. I like it, though. I don't know. It's one of my favorite games.
Oh, I love Final Fantasy X. I just, you know... I think the thing is, I'm not going to go get the ultimate weapons, so I'm not going to do this.
Oh, that's fair. I always get the ultimate weapons.
You fight the corpse of Saren, you defeat him, and then the fleet comes in and destroys Sovereign. Everyone arrives to find your crewmates, who when they ask where you are, they point at some revel, but then and everyone thinks you might be dead. It implies you might be dead, but then you rise triumphantly like a phoenix from the fire.
Yes.
And then, so I don't know how this conversation went for you. In my version of it, it's you talking to the council along with Udina and Anderson. And and the council's like, great, we're going to allow humans onto the council. Who do you want to be the representative? And the paragon choice for this question, like, you get to choose between Udina and Anderson is the paragon choice.
Yeah, of course. Because Anderson is the pinnacle of what an alliance officer should be. And as we all know, dirty politicians just don't belong in politics.
Shepard literally says, I think we have enough politicians.
Yep.
To Udina.
How this goes for me is Udina and Anderson, like, meet Shepard on the Presidium and are basically... Udina is instantly like, yeah, no, they can't rebuild without us. We need to take the lead in forming a new council, one with a human chairman at its head.
At its head, amazing.
Yes. And then, here's Anderson, though. They want us to step forward. They trust us because of you. And they don't just trust us, they'll welcome us. They will greet us as liberators.
Oh, God. But to be fair, that does sound more Paragon than Udina's version. It's just not presented that way in mine. So, like, it is crazy that it's the Paragon one.
No,
but I guess Udina's been a human supremacist this entire time, which means that...
So is Anderson! Anderson says...
But more... Oh, what does Anderson say? Jesus.
Anderson's the one who's like, they'll welcome us, they'll greet us as liberators, basically. That's Anderson.
So...
Udina's the one who's like, human chairman at its head.
So wait, is Udina the Terra Firma Party's representative?
Oh, jeez. I don't think so, because the Terra Firma Party is like... Maybe, I don't know. Fuck,
because he could have been elected. He might run on pro-human first up and then be like, but I wheel and deal once I'm in office, you know.
Yeah, I mean...
I need more of a history on Udina, and I need to see who... Well, anyway.
Yeah, we need to get into this.
And yeah, credits. I chose Anderson to lead. I assumed you did the right choice. I think we already talked about that.
Oh, yeah, no, I chose Anderson to lead. My Shepard is a Spectre first, Marine second, and Xenophile third. She picked Anderson. No need for meddlesome politicians when you have someone with some superlative credentials, like being a Spectre candidate.
My mentality on it was Udina is always a snake, and my Shepard believes in the party line and the alliance and the council. So we need people who are willing to work and rebuild, and that's Anderson. Udina's not a hard enough worker.
I basically picked Anderson because I'm like, he's a part of the deep state. He went to Flux. He knows what's up.
True. Where the real... I mean, that's where the one Starship dude meets you. Like, that's where the real politics happens, at Chorus Den and Flux.
Yeah, it happens in the wards and bars and, like, shady places.
Udina is actually a bit of it. I mean, well, I guess not, right? Because Udina is who sends you to Cora's Den to talk to the CSEC officer. But Anderson sends you right to the Shadow Broker to get information in the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Anderson is like, yeah, no, you need to get hooked up with this deep state. Again. I feel like Anderson is a borderline Spectre.
The fact that a captain is the one given this authority is crazy.
Wait, oh my god, Galaxy Brain Take. Anderson didn't fail becoming a Spectre. They just couldn't publicly acknowledge at that time that humanity had a human Spectre.
Right. Or maybe only the Asari gave him Spectre status. Yeah. Anderson does seem pretty connected to the Spectres otherwise. Like, he's in with Nihilus, and it's never explained how, even though, like, you know.
Yeah, no, I feel like I could develop some very fun, to me, conspiracy theories about the Mass Effect world based off some of these takes.
Some of the blank spaces left. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're done with Mass Effect 1. Holy shit.
Yeah. Holy shit. We're done.
Finished.
I also want to say that thank you, Time.is, for telling us that today is International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking / International Day in support of International Day in support of victims of torture.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
These,
They're
but
the
you
same
know what?
thing.
These are pretty good things to talk about when we're talking about Mass Effect.
That's true. These are both topics that come up a lot.
Yeah,
Less so
absolutely.
torture so far. I would like more discussion about that because we've gotten a lot of information that it's not particularly clear how. Yeah, geez. So are we're gonna do one last episode about Mass Effect. This just wrapping up our feelings on it. Although
Yes.
I don't know. That'll probably be a short one, I imagine.
I think so.
There are some topics you wanted to discuss, and I'm definitely interested to hearing your takes on.
Oh yes. Let's have another little break, and then
Yes,
we'll
I'm gonna
get
take
into that.
Yeah, we'll stop recording and take a 10-minute break, and then record the final episode on Mass Effect.
Excellent. That sounds great.